morning, my name is Triana, and I'm gonna talk to you, as we saw the title, about this little thingy, vocational orientation. This subject is a very underestimated subject. We give it no importance and we think is such an irrelevant subject, and we used to compare with some subjects like mathematics, chemistry, physics, and we say, man, we're not going to use these in our lives. And today I'm gonna prove you wrong, and I'm gonna tell you why it's so important. And today we're going to focus in three principal learning objectives. Learn to change your inner world, strategies to control your emotions, and analyzing your feelings or emotions. Before we talk about the learning objectives, we have to talk about the stages which come with the hand of the learning objectives. And there are four stations: the neuroplasticity, nurture versus nature, change is possible, and finally, irrational thoughts. The stage we're going to talk about is the neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to recognize itself by forming new neuronal connections through life. What does this mean? Well, that basically we're going to acquire new knowledges or experiences through our experiences in life. It's nature versus nurture. When nature is basically the environment you're living in, like your family and your inner circle. But when we talk about nurture, we're talking about the desire you have to make decisions from yourself. And for understand it better for you, I'm gonna put an example from my grandfather. My father's family, when he was little, wasn't in a really good economic situation. So his grandfather was a hardcore alcoholic. And my father lived with him like 10 years until his mother get my grandfather out of the house. And he went. But my father lived 10 years with a hardcore alcoholic. And today my father is scared of alcohol. In any party he don't drink nothing of alcohol. He's scared. I don't know if it's a trauma or he wanted to change, and he don't want to be the same as his father because he sees it as a bad thing to do. So this is when nature and nurture become together, but the desire of changing and do things that you don't like to is in you. Change is possible. Well, this stage is related to nature versus nurture, but it's not the same. The change is possible consists in your ability and your desires to change things that you don't like from yourself or do things that you would like to do. The stage talks about irrational thoughts. Irrational thoughts basically are feelings or emotions we don't understand and we don't know why we're feeling it. And in this stage we are going to learn how to identify them and to analyze the situation so we can understand why we're feeling like that. And you shall be asking, what happened with the learning objectives? Wait, don't forget about them. It's just because they are related to the stages, and let me show you how. There are two learning objectives, which are strategies to control our emotions and analyzing our emotions, related to stage 3, which is irrational thoughts. And think about it. Irrational thoughts are feelings or emotions we don't know why we're feeling it, or we don't understand the emotion or the feeling. And with these two learning objectives, we're going to learn to identify the background of the feeling. We're going to discover why we're feeling like this, if there is a motive behind the emotion. And strategies to control our emotions. When we learn to identify the emotion and know why we are feeling like that, then we can learn how to control it. We We have our last learning objective: learn to change our inner world. In my opinion, this learning objective is related to the three remaining stages. First, neuroplasticity. In this stage, we acquire new experiences through life, and that way we can learn new things. The second stage, the nurture versus nature. Well, as we saw in the example, living with an alcoholic father obviously can affect you, but you decide to change your inner world, like not become the alcoholic or just let it go and forget about it, or become the alcoholic is in your desire to do it. And the third one, the change is possible. Obviously, the change is possible is related completely with the learn to change our inner world. And this obviously because you can live an experience that changes your perspective of the world. With all I have told to you, we can conclude that vocational orientation is a subject that we need to give more of our attention to it. Like, imagine it. All this helps you to see clear your things and your path to choose something, to make better decisions without a feeling or emotion that blocks you out and leaving you no option. So we must pay attention to it. Thank you.